address a common human experience, the feeling of a mind that will not quiet, the thoughts that race and swirl like autumn leaves in a restless wind, the worries of yesterday and the anxieties for tomorrow that build walls around your peace, keeping sleep just out of reach. You may feel exhausted by the constant effort of it all. You may feel as though you are carrying a great weight. That is why you are here. And it is good that you are. If these words feel like they speak for you, you're welcome to let us know where you're listening from. There is something deeply human about knowing that across distant lands, others too are laying down their burdens, one breath at a time. Tonight, you have given yourself a precious gift, the gift of stillness, the gift of release. Make yourself completely comfortable now. Allow your body to sink into the surface beneath you. Let your head feel heavy and supported. Let your shoulders soften and release. Let your arms and legs grow heavy, wonderfully heavy, as if they are melting into a state of profound rest. Tonight, you will discover the ancient secret to letting go. Perhaps you have arrived here with a mind full of noise, a mind that races with the worries of yesterday and the anxieties of tomorrow. You might feel the weight of countless thoughts, like stones carried in a sack upon your back. Each thought, each worry, a heavy burden that keeps you from the deep, restorative sleep you so desperately need and deserve. This is a common struggle in our modern world. We are taught to hold on, to plan, to control. But tonight, we will learn the gentle art of release. Here, in this sanctuary of sound and stillness, you will not be asked to fight your thoughts. You will not be asked to empty your mind by force. Instead, you will be invited to simply observe, to watch your thoughts as if they were clouds drifting across a vast, endless sky. Here, there is nothing for you to do, nothing to solve, nowhere to be. There is only the gentle rhythm of your own breath and the sound of my voice guiding you home to yourself. We begin our journey tonight at the edge of a quiet, moonlit pond. Let your mind paint this picture. Imagine yourself standing on a small wooden dock, the cool night air soft against your skin. The surface of the water is like polished obsidian, perfectly still, reflecting a full silver moon and a sky dusted with 1,000,000 tiny stars. The only sound is the gentle chirping of crickets in the tall grass and the soft whisper of a breeze moving through the nearby bamboo grove. This place is peace. This place is calm, and it is here that we will explore our first story. A story about the burden of carrying what is not ours to hold. A story that speaks directly to the habit of overthinking, the habit of replaying conversations and worries in an endless loop. This first parable is called The Two Monks and the River. Two traveling monks, a senior master named Kaido and his young apprentice Kenji, were on a long pilgrimage to a distant monastery. Their journey took them through lush valleys, over steep mountain passes, and across wide, open plains. They walked in mindful silence for most of the day, their focus on the simple act of each step, each breath. One afternoon, they arrived at the bank of a wide, fast-flowing river. Recent rains had swollen the waters, and the current was strong. There was no bridge in sight. As they contemplated how to cross, they saw a young woman standing by the water's edge. She was dressed in a fine silk kimono, now stained with mud at the hem. She was wringing her hands, her face a mask of distress. Kenji, the young monk, adhered strictly to the monastic rules, one of which forbade them from making physical contact with women. He stood at a respectful distance, his eyes cast downward. The master, Kaido, however, walked calmly toward the woman and bowed. "You seem to be in trouble," he said, his voice gentle and calm. "I am," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. "I must get to my family on the other side before dusk, but the river is too strong, and I cannot swim. I am afraid I will be swept away." Kaido looked at the swirling water, then back at the woman's desperate face. Without a word, he turned his back to her and crouched down. "Climb on," he said simply. The woman hesitated for a moment, surprised by the offer, but seeing the kindness and strength in the old monk's eyes, she did as he asked. With the woman securely on his back, the master, Kaido, carefully stepped into the cold river. He moved with a slow, deliberate strength, planting his staff firmly with each step, bracing himself against the powerful current. Kenji watched from the bank, his mind in turmoil. He was shocked. His master was breaking a sacred rule. He could not understand it. He crossed the river a little ways downstream, his robes soaked, his thoughts racing with judgment and confusion. After a difficult crossing, Kaido reached the other side and gently set the woman down. She bowed deeply, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Master. You have saved me. I will never forget your compassion." Kaido simply smiled, bowed in return, and turned to continue his journey. Kenji fell into step beside his master, but the silence that had once been peaceful was now heavy and fraught. For the next 2 hours, Kenji walked with a storm brewing inside him. He replayed the scene at the river over and over. How could he do that? He thought. He is a master. He should know better. He touched her. He carried her. He broke the precept. The questions churned, the judgments grew, and his inner peace was completely shattered. The beautiful scenery of the path, the golden light of the late afternoon, the sound of birdsong, the scent of pine, was lost on him. He was no longer on the path. He was trapped back at the riverbank, replaying the event again and again. Finally, as they neared their destination for the evening, Kenji could bear it no longer. He burst out, "Master Kaido, I must ask you. We are sworn to an austere life. We have taken vows not to touch a woman. Yet you carried that woman across the river on your back. How could you break such a fundamental rule?" The old master, Kaido, stopped walking. He turned to his young, agitated apprentice. His face was serene, his eyes filled not with defense, but with a deep, loving compassion. He looked at Kenji and said softly, "I set that woman down by the river 2 hours ago." Then, after a moment of silence, he added, "Why are you still carrying her?" The master taught the true nature of the mind is like a clear sky. Thoughts and emotions are merely clouds that pass through it. This simple, powerful story illuminates one of the most profound sources of human suffering: our tendency to carry burdens long after they have passed. Kenji, the young monk, represents the part of our own mind that clings to rules, judgments, and past events. He was not physically carrying the woman, but he was carrying the idea of her. He was carrying his judgment, his confusion, and his indignation. This mental burden was far heavier than the woman herself. It robbed him of his peace, blinded him to the beauty of the present moment, and filled him with inner turmoil for hours. Cairo, the wise master, embodies the principle of compassionate action and non-attachment. He saw a person in need and responded with simple, direct compassion, which he understood to be a higher principle than a rigid rule in that moment. His action was pure, born of the present moment's need, and once the action was complete, he let it go completely. He set the woman down, both physically and mentally. He returned to the simple reality of the path, the sky, his breath. His mind was free because he did not cling to the event. He understood that the past is a memory, and to live in it is to carry a ghost on your back. The story teaches us that what often weighs us down is not the event itself, but our rumination about the event. It is the endless replaying, the judging, the questioning, the regretting. This is the very nature of anxiety and overthinking. We pick up a worry, a difficult conversation, a mistake from the past, and we carry it with us long after the moment has ended. We carry it into our evening, into our relationships, and into our bed, preventing us from finding rest. As you lie here, resting comfortably, I invite you to gently turn your awareness inward. Can you recognize this pattern in your own life? The pattern of carrying the woman long after you have left the river. Perhaps you are still carrying a harsh word someone said to you earlier today, or a mistake you made at work last week. Maybe you are replaying a difficult decision, wondering if you did the right thing. These things are like Kenji's mental burden. The event is over. The river has been crossed. And yet, you are still carrying the weight of it. Consider what you are carrying tonight as you try to find sleep. What woman have you failed to set down at the riverbank? You don't need to analyze it or judge yourself for carrying it. Simply notice it. Acknowledge its presence with the same gentle compassion that Cairo showed the woman. See the thought, the worry, the memory, and then see that you have a choice. The past only has the power you give it by holding onto it in the present. You have the power to set it down right here, right now. Imagine you are standing at the edge of that same peaceful river. The moon is high in the sky, casting a silver light upon the water. In your hands, you are holding the worry that has been troubling you. Feel its weight. Acknowledge it. Thank it for whatever lesson it may have tried to teach you. And now, very gently, open your hands and let it go. Watch as it dissolves into the flowing water and is carried away downstream, out of sight. It is no longer yours to hold. You have set it down. You are free. The only thing left to carry is the awareness of your own breath. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest, each inhale bringing peace, each exhale letting go a little more. You left the woman at the river. You are no longer carrying her. Your mind is as clear and vast as the night sky. Your body is heavy and relaxed. There is nothing left to do now but to drift, to float, to sleep. Rest now. Let the current of deep, healing sleep carry you away. We travel onward in our minds, leaving the moonlit river behind. Our path now leads us up a gentle, winding slope into the heart of an ancient forest. Picture yourself walking on a path of soft moss, so green and plush it feels like velvet beneath your feet. Towering trees, hundreds of years old, form a protective canopy high above. Sunlight filters through the leaves in shifting, golden patterns, dappling the forest floor. The air here is cool and clean, filled with the rich, earthy scent of damp soil and cedar wood. The only sound is the gentle, rustling whisper of a million leaves speaking to one another in the breeze. It is a sound that soothes the soul, a sound that says, "Hush, be still." In this space of deep tranquility, we can gently acknowledge another common burden of the modern heart: the feeling of burnout, the sense of profound exhaustion that comes not just from a lack of sleep, but from a depletion of spirit. Perhaps lately you have felt like a well running dry. You give and give to your work, to your family, to the endless demands of life, until there is nothing left for yourself. You may feel that your own energy is a finite resource you are constantly spending, with no time to replenish it. This story is for anyone who feels drained, depleted, and weary to their very bones. It is a story about the true source of our energy. It is called the Master's Empty Cup. In a small temple, nestled high on a mountain cloaked in mist, lived a wise old master known for his boundless energy and joyful spirit. Pilgrims and seekers would travel for weeks to ask for his guidance. One such seeker was a young man named Haru, a successful merchant from the bustling city in the valley below. Haru was respected and wealthy, but he was deeply, profoundly tired. He felt his life was a constant outpouring of effort, a frantic race against time, and his inner reserves were all but gone. After a long and arduous journey, Haru finally arrived at the temple gates. He found the old master in the garden, calmly tending to his small patch of tea plants. The master moved with a grace and lightness that belied his age. His eyes sparkled with a vibrant, peaceful energy. Haru bowed low. "Master," he said, his voice heavy with fatigue, "I have come seeking your wisdom. I am successful in the eyes of the world, but I am empty inside. I feel as though my life force is draining away with each passing day. I give everything I have to my business and my duties, and now I have nothing left. Your energy seems endless. Please teach me your secret. How do you keep your cup from becoming empty?" The master smiled warmly and gestured for Haru to follow him. He led him to a simple wooden veranda overlooking the vast, cloud-filled valley. On a low table sat a beautiful, rustic tea set. The master motioned for Haru to sit. "You are thirsty from your journey," the master said. "Let us have some tea." The master took a small, delicate teacup and placed it in front of Haru. Then he picked up a heavy iron teapot, steam whispering from its spout. He began to pour the fragrant, amber tea into Haru's cup. He poured and he poured. The tea tea filled the cup to the brim, and then it began to overflow, spilling onto the saucer, and then onto the table, cascading onto the wooden floor of the veranda. Haru watched in astonishment, then alarm. "Master," he cried out, "stop, the cup is full. It can't hold any more." The master continued to pour for a moment longer, a gentle, knowing smile on his face. Then he slowly set the teapot down. He looked at Haru, his gaze both soft and piercing. "You are like this cup," the master said calmly. "You come to me already full of your own ideas, your worries, your ambitions, your exhaustion. You are so full of doing that there is no room to be. You ask me how to fill your cup, but you fail to see that the problem is not how to fill it, but how to empty it first." The master then picked up his own cup. It was empty. He held it out, open and receptive. "My secret is not that I have a special way of filling my cup," he said softly. "It is that I am always willing to be empty. I do not hold onto yesterday's tea. I do not worry about tomorrow's brew. I simply offer my emptiness to the present moment, and the universe fills it." He continued, his voice like the whispering leaves. "Your energy is not something you possess and then spend like coins from a purse. True energy is something you receive when you are open. It flows through you, not from you. When you are busy, striving and clinging, you close yourself off from this flow. Your fatigue is not from giving too much, but from trying to give from a self that is already full of static and strain. To be replenished, you must first be empty. You must create space." The master taught, "Do not seek to be full. Seek to be an empty vessel, and you will be endlessly filled." This parable challenges our fundamental modern understanding of energy and productivity. We are conditioned to believe that energy is a commodity. We talk about spending energy, saving it, investing it. This mindset turns our very life force into a transactional resource, leading directly to the feeling of burnout when our perceived account runs low. Haru, the merchant, is the perfect symbol of this belief. He is successful by every external measure, but this success has been built on the frantic activity of a mind that is always full, always on. The overflowing teacup is a brilliant and simple metaphor for this state. When we are full of our own anxieties, plans, and self-conceptions, there is no room for anything new to enter, no room for peace, no room for inspiration, no room for the quiet, sustaining energy that arises not from effort, but from stillness. The Master's wisdom is that replenishment does not come from adding more, but from letting go of what is already there. The true secret is a radical shift in perspective. Energy is not a possession, it is a current. It is the life force of the universe itself, and it is always available. The trees in the forest do not try to grow. They simply stand, open to the sun, the rain, and the earth, and the energy for growth flows through them. The Master in the story lives in this way. He is not energized because he hoards his strength. He is energized because he is perpetually open, present, and empty of resistance. His emptiness is not a void, but a state of pure receptivity. Burnout from this perspective is the result of a blockage. It is the state of being a full cup, trying to pour from its own limited contents, while simultaneously refusing to be refilled. The cure is not a more frantic search for ways to get more energy, but the gentle, courageous act of emptying our minds. As you rest here, feeling the weight of your own body, allow this image of the overflowing cup to settle in your mind. Can you feel how your own mind might be full right now? Full of the day's events, full of tomorrow's to-do list, full of the identities you carry. Perhaps you feel you have to be the capable employee, the caring parent, the reliable friend. Each of these roles, these thoughts, fills your cup. Your exhaustion may not be a sign that you are failing, but simply a sign that your cup is overflowing. It is a gentle signal from your soul, asking for space. As you lie here, what could you allow to pour out? What belief, what worry, what role could you set down just for this moment of rest? You don't have to get rid of it forever. Just for tonight, give yourself permission to be empty. Imagine your mind is a cup, and with each exhale, you are gently tipping it, allowing the stale tea of the day's worries to pour out, pouring out the need to be productive, pouring out the pressure to be perfect, pouring out the memory of every demand and every expectation. Let it all drain away, leaving a clean, open, empty space. This emptiness is not a lack. It is potential. It is peace. It is the fertile ground from which true, effortless energy can arise. Imagine your mind now as that beautiful, empty teacup, resting on the quiet veranda of the mountain temple. The air is cool and still. The valley below is a sea of calm, white clouds. You are open. You are receptive. You are empty. And into this beautiful emptiness, the universe begins to pour its peace. With every gentle breath you take, a quiet energy trickles in. It is not a jarring, active energy, but a deep, restorative stillness. It fills you without effort. It replenishes you without striving. You are not spending energy to fall asleep. You are emptying yourself of the resistance to sleep. You are allowing sleep to find you, to fill you. Like the Master's cup, you are becoming a vessel for deep, healing rest. There is nothing to do, nothing to force. Simply be empty and let yourself be filled with the profound peace of the whispering leaves and the mountain mist. Let the deep, quiet energy of sleep restore you from the inside out. Rest now, empty and at peace. Sleep now. We drift away from the mountain temple, floating on a sea of clouds. Our mind's journey now takes us to a quiet, sun-drenched courtyard. Imagine a space paved with smooth, warm flagstones. In the center, a single ancient olive tree stands, its gnarled branches providing a canopy of dappled shade. You can hear the gentle buzzing of bees in the fragrant lavender bushes that line the walls. The air is warm and dry, carrying the scent of sun-baked earth and herbs. It is a place of craft, of patience, of creation. Here, in this peaceful, creative space, we turn our attention to a very modern form of suffering. The tyranny of perfectionism, the relentless fear of making a mistake, of being seen as flawed or inadequate. This pressure, whether it comes from outside or from within, can be paralyzing. It can steal the joy from our work, our hobbies, and our relationships. It tells us that our worth is conditional upon a flawless performance. This story is for anyone who has ever felt trapped by the impossible standard of perfection. It is for those who fear failure so much that they hesitate to even begin. This story is called The Weaver and the Flawless Cloth. In a village renowned for its exquisite textiles, lived an old woman named Amaya, who was celebrated as the finest weaver in the land. The cloths she wove were legendary for their beauty, softness, and intricate designs. Emperors and nobles would send emissaries to purchase her work, paying handsome sums for even the smallest piece. A young apprentice named Emmy came to study under Amaya. Emmy was talented and dedicated, but she was consumed by a deep anxiety. She worshipped Amaya's skill and was terrified of falling short of her master's standards. She wanted more than anything to weave a single piece of cloth that was absolutely perfect, without a single misplaced thread or uneven dye. Emmy would spend days preparing her loom, her hands trembling slightly as she set the threads. When she began to weave, her focus was so intense it was painful. If she noticed the slightest imperfection, a thread that was a fraction too tight, a color that bled ever so slightly, she would groan in despair, unravel hours of work, and start again. Her corner of the workshop was filled with discarded, half-finished pieces. The joy of creation was completely lost to her. There was only the grim, relentless pursuit of an impossible ideal. One afternoon, Amaya came to observe Emmy's work. She found the young woman hunched over her loom, tears of frustration streaming down her face as she painstakingly unpicked a section of a beautiful, nearly finished tapestry. "What is wrong, my child?" Amaya asked, her voice as soft as the wool in her hands. "It is ruined, master." Emmy choked out, pointing a trembling finger at the cloth. "Look, this one golden thread. It is not perfectly aligned with the others. The entire pattern is compromised. It is flawed. It is worthless." Amaya leaned closer, her wise old eyes examining the tapestry. She saw the thread Emmy was pointing to. It was, indeed, slightly out of place. A tiny, almost imperceptible deviation in a sea of masterful weaving. Amaya was silent for a long moment. Then she gently placed a hand on Emmy's shoulder. "Let me show you something," Amaya said. She led Emmy across the sunlit workshop to a large, ornate chest in the corner. She opened it, revealing her own most prized creations, the masterpieces that had earned her fame. She pulled out a magnificent imperial robe, woven with threads of silver and silk, depicting a dragon soaring through clouds. "This was made for the emperor himself," Amaya said. "Find the flaw." Emmy took the heavy fabric and examined it with painstaking care. After several minutes, her eyes widened. Tucked away in the dragon's magnificent tail was a single silver thread that was looped incorrectly. A tiny, deliberate mistake. Amaya then pulled out another piece, a wall hanging of a serene forest scene. "This one hangs in the great monastery," she said. "Find the flaw." Again, Emmy searched, and again she found it. A single leaf, woven in a shade of green that was just slightly different from all the others. One by one, Amaya showed Emmy her most celebrated works, and in every single one, Emmy, with her keen and anxious eye, was able to find a small, intentional imperfection. Finally, she looked at her master, her face a picture of utter confusion. "But Master, why? You are capable of perfection. Why would you deliberately place a flaw in every masterpiece?" Amaya smiled, a deep and gentle smile. "I do it for 3 reasons," she said. "First, to remind myself that only the gods are perfect. To create a truly flawless piece is an act of arrogance, an attempt to rival the divine. We are human, and our creations should reflect our beautiful, humble humanity." Second, she continued, "the flaw is what allows the spirit of the piece to escape. A perfect, closed-off creation is a cage. The small opening, the imperfection, allows its essence to breathe and connect with the world. And third, and most importantly for you, Emmy," Amaya said, her eyes looking deep into her apprentice's soul, "I do it to remind myself that the beauty is not in the absence of flaws. The beauty is in the whole. It is the interplay of light and shadow, of strength and vulnerability. This obsession with a single, tiny, misplaced thread has blinded you to the breathtaking beauty of the entire tapestry you are weaving. You are not creating flaws. You are creating life, and life is never, ever perfect. The master taught, a crack is how the light gets in. True beauty embraces the imperfect. This story is a powerful antidote to the destructive nature of perfectionism. Emmy represents our own inner critic, the voice that magnifies our perceived flaws until they eclipse everything else. This voice tells us that our worth is fragile and can be shattered by a single mistake. It is a mindset that leads to anxiety, procrastination, and a profound lack of joy in the process of living and creating. We spend so much energy trying to prevent or hide our mistakes that we never get to appreciate the magnificent, imperfect tapestry of our own lives. Amaya, the wise weaver, offers a radical reframing of what good means. She intentionally introduces a flaw into each of her masterpieces. This is not an act of carelessness, but a deeply philosophical and spiritual practice. It is an act of humility, an acknowledgement of our human nature. It is an act of liberation, allowing the creation to be free from the prison of perfection. And most profoundly, it is an act of wisdom, recognizing that true living beauty is not static or sterile, but dynamic and includes imperfection. The concept that the flaw allows the spirit to escape is a beautiful metaphor. When we try to make something or ourselves absolutely perfect, we create a brittle, closed system. There is no room for grace, for growth, for learning. Our imperfections are our openings. They are the places where we are soft, where we can connect with others through shared vulnerability, where we can learn and evolve. They are, as the teaching says, how the light gets in. Perfectionism is rooted in fear, the fear of judgment, of failure, of not being good enough. Amaya's wisdom teaches us to move from fear to love the whole of our creation, the whole of ourselves, not in spite of the flaws, but because the flaws are an integral part of that unique and beautiful whole. As you lie here, enveloped in stillness, I invite you to think about the tapestry of your own life. Where in your life have you been behaving like Emmy, agonizing over a single misplaced thread? Perhaps it is a goal you feel you are not reaching fast enough, or a way you feel you have fallen short as a parent, a partner, or a professional. Maybe it is a physical feature you judge harshly, or a past mistake you cannot forgive yourself for. We all have these threads that we fixate on, allowing them to rob us of the joy of the larger picture. Can you, just for this moment, adopt the wisdom of Amaya? Can you look at your life, at yourself, and find the beauty in the whole tapestry, not just the one thread? See the strength you have shown. See the kindness you have given. See the resilience that has brought you to this very moment. All of these are part of your unique and beautiful pattern. The perceived flaw does not negate them. It is simply another color, another texture in the rich design. What if that flaw you have been so worried about is actually a mark of your humanity? A sign that you are living, learning, and growing, not a cold, sterile statue. What if it is the very thing that makes you relatable, lovable, and real? Imagine now that you are holding the cloth of your own life in your hands. It is woven with threads of every color, bright threads of joy, dark threads of sorrow, silver threads of wisdom, and soft threads of peace. Run your hands over it. Feel the different textures. See the intricate pattern it makes. And yes, there are knots. There are slightly crooked lines. There are small imperfections. See them now not as mistakes, but as the signature of the weaver. Your signature. They are proof that this is a handmade, heart-made life. They are the places where the light gets in. Now wrap yourself in this beautiful, imperfect, magnificent cloth. Let it be your blanket tonight. Feel the warmth of self-acceptance. Feel the comfort of letting go of the need to be perfect. You are whole. You are worthy. You are beautiful just as you are. There is no need to strive for perfection as you drift off to sleep. You only need to rest, to surrender to the gentle, accepting embrace of the night. wrap yourself in the forgiving softness of your own being and allow yourself to sleep deeply, peacefully, and perfectly imperfectly. Rest now, whole and complete. Sleep now. Let your awareness drift, soft and light, like a gull on the ocean breeze. We leave the sun-warmed courtyard behind and find ourselves standing on a vast, quiet beach at twilight. The sand beneath your feet is cool and damp. The sun has just dipped below the horizon, leaving the sky painted in soft hues of lavender, rose, and pale orange. The ocean stretches out before you, immense and calm, its surface like rippling silk. Gentle waves sigh as they slide up the shore, and then whisper as they recede, a slow, hypnotic rhythm. In this place of boundless expanse, we can gently hold another common affliction of the modern mind, the habit of comparison. In a world of endless images and updates, it is so easy to look at the lives of others and feel that our own is somehow lacking. We compare our progress, our successes, our happiness to a curated version of someone else's, and in that comparison, we lose our own peace. We create a race that can never be won. This story is for anyone who feels caught in the trap of comparison, for anyone who feels the sting of envy or the ache of not being there yet. It is a story about the true nature of our journey. It is called The Two Boats on the Endless Ocean. Two young fishermen, Ren and Shin, set out from the shore at dawn. They were old friends, but a quiet rivalry had grown between them. Each had his own small boat, and each day was an unspoken competition to see who could bring in the bigger catch. Ren was bold and ambitious. His eyes were always on the horizon, searching for the place where other boats were gathered, believing that the best fish were to be found where others had already found success. He would row frantically, his muscles straining, chasing after distant sails. When he saw another fisherman pull up a full net, a knot of envy would tighten in his stomach, and he would row even harder, convinced he was in the wrong spot. His journey was a zigzag of anxious pursuit, his gaze always external, his peace dependent on how he measured up to others. Shin, on the other hand, was quieter and more observant. When he set out each morning, his first act was not to look at the other boats, but to look at the ocean itself. He watched the subtle patterns of the currents. He observed the flight of the gulls. He felt the direction of the wind on his cheek. He paid attention to the unique conditions of the water beneath his own boat. He did not see the ocean as a single, uniform entity, but as a living, breathing system with infinite variations. One day, a great storm was brewing far out at sea. The old masters of the village had warned that the fishing would be poor near the shore, and the best catches would be found in the deep, sheltered coves along the rocky coastline. Ren, however, saw a handful of large, foreign fishing vessels far out on the horizon, heading toward the open sea. They must know something I don't, he thought, his heart pounding with the fear of missing out. Ignoring the wisdom of the elders, he turned his boat and began to row with all his might toward the distant ships, convinced that was where the treasure lay. Shin, meanwhile, had prepared his boat according to the elders' advice. He felt the cool, heavy air that signaled the coming storm. He noticed how the seabirds were flying low, close to the land. He ignored the distant ships that had so captivated Ren. His journey was not about them. He turned his small boat and navigated carefully toward a quiet, protected cove he knew, a place the currents had told him would be rich with fish seeking shelter. Hours passed. Ren rowed and rowed, chasing the horizon, but the big ships were faster, and he was soon left alone in a vast, empty stretch of ocean. The sky grew dark, the wind picked up, and the sea became choppy and dangerous. He cast his nets, but they came up empty, time and time again. He was exhausted, frightened, and his boat was filled with nothing but saltwater spray and the bitter taste of disappointment. Shin, in his sheltered cove, found the water calm. He cast his net and felt the satisfying weight as it filled with fish. He worked calmly and steadily, in harmony with the sea around him. He was not worried about what other fishermen were doing, because because he was deeply engaged with his own reality, his own water, his own journey. He filled his boat with a magnificent catch and returned to the village just as the first drops of rain began to fall. Late that night, a weary, defeated wren finally managed to row his empty boat back to shore, battered by the storm. He saw Shin's boat, full and secure. He approached the other fishermen, his pride swallowed by his exhaustion. "How?" Wren asked, his voice hoarse. "How did you know?" "I followed the biggest boats to where I thought the best fishing would be, and I found nothing." Shin looked at his friend with compassion, not with pride. "You are not looking at the ocean, Wren," he said softly. "You are only looking at other boats. Each of us is given our own patch of water, our own currents, our own winds. The secret to a good catch is not to find where others are fishing, but to learn to read the water beneath your own boat. Your journey is yours alone. To compare it to another's is to be lost at sea." The master taught a flower does not think of competing with the flower next to it. It just blooms. This parable speaks directly to the painful and fruitless habit of social comparison, or what we now call the fear of missing out. Ren represents the anxious, comparing mind. His focus is entirely external. His actions are dictated not by his own wisdom or observation, but by what he imagines others are doing or achieving. This turns his journey into a reactive, desperate chase. He is never present in his own experience because he is constantly looking over his shoulder, measuring his progress against others. The result is not success, but exhaustion, emptiness, and being caught in a storm of his own making. Shin represents the mindful, centered self. He understands a fundamental truth. His journey is unique. The conditions of his life, his patch of water, are specific to him. Therefore, the most effective and peaceful way to navigate is to pay attention to his own experience. He listens to the wisdom of the elders, and he observes the reality right in front of him. He is not distracted by the grand voyages of others, because he is deeply absorbed in the sacredness of his own path. His success is a natural outcome of his presence and attention, not a goal he has to fight for. The core lesson is that comparison is a form of self-abandonment. When we compare, we are essentially saying that someone else's path is more valid than our own. We disconnect from our own inner wisdom and intuition, and instead try to graft someone else's map onto our unique territory. It never works. It only leads to feeling lost and inadequate. True peace and fulfillment can only be found when we turn our gaze inward and forward on our own path, honoring its unique twists and turns. Your boat is not supposed to be on the same course as anyone else's. As you lie here, floating in the calm sea of approaching sleep, I invite you to bring this wisdom into your own heart. In what areas of your life have you been watching other boats instead of your own water? Is it in your career, watching colleagues get promotions and feeling left behind? Is it in your personal life, seeing the highlight reels of others' relationships or travels and feeling a pang of lack? Is it in your creative pursuits or even your spiritual journey, believing that you are not as advanced as someone else? Be gentle with yourself as you acknowledge this. It is a deeply human habit. Can you, for this moment, call your attention back to your own boat? Can you feel the gentle rocking of your own breath in the quiet ocean of this room? This breath is your current. This moment is your patch of water. It is real. It is yours. The journeys of others are just stories, distant sails on a horizon you cannot touch. They have their own storms to navigate, their own hidden coves to find. Their path is not your concern. Your peace lies right here in your own vessel. You have your own unique wisdom, your own intuition, your own timing. Trust the water beneath your own boat. It will guide you exactly where you need to be. Imagine yourself now, not on the shore, but in your own small, sturdy boat, floating on a perfectly calm twilight sea. You are alone, but not lonely. You are surrounded by a vast, peaceful quiet. The other boats have all faded from view. They do not matter. There is no race. There is no comparison. There is only you and the gentle ocean of the night. The sky above is a canopy of deepening violet, filled with soft, silent stars. They are not competing with each other for brightness. Each one simply shines. And you, in your little boat, you simply float. With every gentle wave that rocks your boat, you let go a little more of the need to measure up. With every whisper of the water against the hull, you sink a little deeper into self-acceptance. Your journey is perfect, exactly as it is. Your timing is divine. Let the gentle, rhythmic rocking of this ocean carry you now. Let it lull you into a deep, profound state of rest. You are exactly where you are meant to be, in the safe harbor of your own being, ready for the deep, restorative voyage of sleep. Rest now. Trust your journey. Sleep now. Our awareness drifts away from the vast ocean, carried on a gentle breeze that smells of rain and damp earth. We find ourselves in a secluded garden, hidden behind the walls of an old monastery. It is early morning, just after a night of soft rain. The world feels washed clean. Mist hangs low in the air, weaving through the dark, wet trunks of pine trees. Droplets of water hang like jewels from every leaf and blade of grass. The ground is soft underfoot, and the air is filled with the clean, green scent of growing things. In the center of the garden is a large, chaotic grove of bamboo. In this place of quiet, organic growth, we can explore the struggle with control. So much of our anxiety and frustration comes from trying to manage every outcome, to force life into the neat and tidy patterns we have designed in our minds. We try to control our careers, our relationships, even our own feelings, and we exhaust ourselves fighting against the wild, unpredictable nature of life itself. This story is for anyone who feels tired of fighting, tired of trying to force things to happen. It is a story about the wisdom of yielding. It is called The Gardener and the Unruly Bamboo. An old master, who was also the head gardener of the monastery, had a young novice named Renzo assigned to help him. Renzo was diligent and hardworking, but he was also rigid and controlling. He believed that a garden should be a place of perfect order, with every plant in its designated place, every path perfectly swept, and every weed immediately eliminated. He found a deep sense of unease in anything that was wild or unpredictable. One day, the old master tasked Renzo with tending to a large, unruly grove of bamboo at the back of the garden. The bamboo had been left to its own devices for some time and had grown into a dense, chaotic thicket. New shoots were pushing up in the middle of the gravel paths, and the tall canes were leaning and clacking against each other in the wind. "Master, this is a mess," Renzo declared, his brow furrowed with disapproval. "It needs to be brought under control. I will uproot the stray shoots, force the canes into straight lines, and trim it back into a perfect, orderly square." The old master smiled faintly. "The bamboo has its own nature, Renzo," he said. "It does not wish to be a square. Your task is not to conquer it, but to work with it. Go and spend the day with the bamboo. Do not bring your tools. Just sit and watch and listen." Renzo was confused and frustrated by this instruction, but he obeyed. He went to the edge of the bamboo grove and sat on a stone bench. For the first hour, he fumed. He saw only chaos. He mentally listed all the things he would do to fix it. His mind was a torrent of plans and judgments. He felt tense and agitated. But as the hours passed and he had nothing to do, his restless mind began to quiet down. He started to notice things he hadn't seen before. He noticed the way the sunlight filtered through the dense leaves, creating a beautiful, shifting mosaic of light and shadow on the ground. He began to hear the music of the grove, the gentle rustle of the leaves, the soft creaking of the stalks, the hollow clack as they knocked against each other in the breeze. It was not chaos, it was a symphony. He saw that the bamboo was not just growing randomly. There was an intelligence to it. The shoots were seeking the light. The roots were holding the soil together on the slope. The canes, in their dense cluster, were protecting each other from the strong mountain winds. What he had seen as a mess was actually a complex, cooperative system of incredible strength and resilience. master returned at dusk, he found a very different Renzo. The young novice was sitting peacefully, his posture relaxed, a look of quiet awe on his face. "Well," the master asked, "what have you learned from the bamboo?" "Master," Renzo said, his voice soft with reverence, "I saw that my desire to control it was born of my own fear. I wanted to force it to be something it was not. But the bamboo's strength is in its nature, its ability to bend, to grow in community, to follow the light. To force it into a square would be to destroy its very essence." The master nodded, his eyes pleased. "And what is the work that needs to be done now?" "The work is not to control," Renzo replied, "but to guide. I will clear the path, not by uprooting the new shoots, but by gently redirecting them back into the grove. I will thin some of the older, weaker canes, not to impose order, but to allow more light and air to reach the stronger ones. I will not fight its nature. I will work with its nature to help it be the most vibrant and healthy version of itself." The old master placed a hand on Renzo's shoulder. "Today," he said, "you have learned the difference between a gardener and a tyrant. And you have learned the most important lesson, not just for the garden, but for life. Do not fight the river. Learn to steer your boat. Do not fight the wind. Learn to set your sails." The master taught, the bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists. This parable offers a profound lesson on the wisdom of yielding versus the futility of rigid control. Renzo begins with the classic mindset of the controlling ego. He sees the world as a problem to be solved, a chaotic mess to be forced into a neat, predictable order. This is the source of so much of our stress. We have a picture in our mind of how things should be, how our career should progress, how our children should behave, how our life should unfold. And we exhaust ourselves trying to wrestle reality into conformity with that picture. The bamboo grove is a metaphor for life itself. It is wild, dynamic, interconnected, and has its own innate intelligence. It does not bend to our will. When Renzo tries to impose his rigid, square-shaped idea onto the bamboo, he is met with frustration and a sense of being overwhelmed. This is the feeling we get when we try to micromanage every aspect of our lives. We are fighting against a force far greater than ourselves. The master's instruction, too, Sit, watch, and listen is the key to a profound shift in consciousness. It is a call to move from doing to being, from controlling to observing. It is in this space of quiet observation that Renzo's perception changes entirely. He stops seeing chaos and starts seeing a complex, beautiful system. He stops seeing a problem to be fixed and starts seeing a life force to be honored. This is the essence of mindfulness, to see things as they are, without the filter of our judgments and desires. The final wisdom is not about abdication or passivity. The gardener does not simply let the weeds take over the entire garden. Instead, he shifts from being a tyrant to a guide. He learns to work with the nature of things, not against it. This means discerning when to act and when to allow, when to prune and when to let grow, when to steer and when to float. It is a dance of responsive, intelligent participation with life, rather than a war against it. This dance brings peace, effectiveness, and a deep sense of connection. As you rest here, feeling the gentle pull of sleep, I invite you to consider the bamboo grove of your own life. Where have you been trying to force things into a perfect, rigid square? What part of your life are you treating like an unruly mess that must be conquered? Perhaps you are trying to force a relationship into a preconceived mold, or trying to control your emotional state, scolding yourself for feeling sad or anxious. Maybe you have a rigid timeline for your life's accomplishments, and you are filled with anxiety because life itself is not cooperating with your plan. Can you, just for this moment, stop being the tyrant and become the observer? Can you sit quietly with the mess and just watch without judgment? What if the parts of your life that seem most chaotic actually contain a hidden wisdom, a hidden strength? What if your messy emotions are simply a natural response to life, like the bamboo bending in the wind? What if the unexpected detour in your career path is actually leading you to a place with more light? You do not need to fight your life tonight. You do not need to solve it. You can simply allow it to be. You can trust the innate intelligence of your own being, just as the bamboo trusts its own nature. Imagine yourself sitting now at the edge of that misty, quiet bamboo grove. The rain has stopped. The air is fresh and clean. You are not here to fix anything. You are just here to be. Listen to the gentle music of the bamboo. The rustle of the leaves is a lullaby. The soft creaking of the canes is a peaceful rhythm. Feel yourself becoming like the bamboo, strong yet flexible, rooted yet able to bend. You don't need to control your thoughts as you fall asleep. Let them come and go, like breezes passing through the grove. You don't need to force your body to relax. Simply allow the relaxation to happen, a gentle yielding to the pull of rest. Surrender to the wisdom of your own nature, which knows that now is the time for rest. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the fight and just bend. Yield into the soft, supportive ground of deep, healing sleep. Rest now, flexible and at peace. Sleep now. Our journey continues as our awareness becomes as light as a floating seed carried by the wind. We find ourselves arriving in a small, humble village nestled in a mountain valley. It is late evening and a storm is rolling in. The sky is a deep, bruised purple, and the wind is beginning to howl through the narrow streets. You can smell the ozone in the air, the promise of heavy rain. People are shuttering their windows and hurrying indoors. There is a feeling of tension in the air, an anticipation of nature's power. Yet through a window, you can see the warm, steady glow of a single lantern. In this place of impending turmoil, we will explore the universal experience of anger and frustration. Anger, like a storm, can feel powerful and overwhelming. It can cloud our judgment, damage our relationships, and shatter our inner peace. We are often taught either to suppress it, letting it fester inside, or to unleash it, causing harm to ourselves and others. This story offers a third way, a way to meet the storm of anger with wisdom and compassion. It is called the lantern in the storm. In the mountain village lived a man named Kale, who was known for his fiery temper the slightest inconvenience, a cart blocking his path, a merchant charging a coin too many, a child's noisy game, could ignite him into a rage. When he was angry, his face would darken like a thundercloud. His voice would boom like thunder, and his words would strike like lightning. The villagers feared his temper, and Kale, in his quieter moments, felt a deep shame for the damage he caused. Yet he felt powerless to stop the storm when it arose. One day, a traveling monk, known simply as Master N, came to stay in the village temple. Hearing of Kale's struggle, the master invited him for tea. Kale sat before the serene monk, his shoulders slumped. "Master," he confessed, "I am cursed with this anger. It is a demon that possesses me. I have tried to fight it, to lock it away, but it always breaks free, stronger than before. What can I do?" Master and listened patiently, his gaze calm and steady. When Kale finished, the monk did not offer advice. Instead, he said, "Tonight, a great storm is predicted. I want you to do something for me. Take this lantern," he said, handing Kale a simple paper lantern with a single, thick candle inside. "When the storm is at its peak, I want you to walk to the old stone bridge at the edge of the village and back. Your only task is to keep this flame from going out." Kale was bewildered by the strange request, but he felt he had no other choice. That night, as the storm broke with ferocious intensity, he lit the lantern. The wind howled, and the rain came down in blinding sheets. Kale wrapped his cloak around the fragile paper lantern, cupping his hands to shield it from the worst of the gusts. His walk to the bridge was a battle. The wind tore at him, trying to rip the lantern from his hands. Rain soaked the paper, making it heavy and fragile. Every step was a struggle, but Kale's entire focus, his entire being, was dedicated to one single, simple purpose: protecting the small, vulnerable flame. He did not have time to be angry at the wind for blowing. He did not have time to curse the rain for falling. His energy was not spent raging against the storm. It was spent nurturing the light. He became incredibly aware of the wind's direction, shifting his body to block it. He became sensitive to the slightest flicker of the flame, adjusting his hands to give it more air or more shelter. He was in the middle of the storm, yet his mind was remarkably calm, clear, and focused. After what felt like an eternity, he returned to the temple, soaked to the bone but triumphant. The small flame inside the tattered lantern was still burning, casting a warm, steady glow. He entered the master's room, his heart filled with a strange sense of peace. Master and looked up and smiled. "The storm was fierce, was it not?" he asked. "It was, Master," Kale replied, "but I was not." "Tell me," the master said gently, "did you fight the storm?" Kale thought for a moment. "No, Master, I couldn't. The storm is too big to fight. I just protected my light." The master's smile deepened. "Your anger is like the storm, Kale. It is a powerful force of nature that passes through you. You cannot fight it or control it. To try is to be swept away by it. But inside you, there is also a small, steady flame. It is your awareness, your consciousness, your inner peace. When the storm of anger rises, the master concluded, do not turn your attention to the wind and the rain. Do not waste your energy raging against it. Instead, turn all of your attention inward. Find that small, warm flame of awareness within you, and dedicate all of your energy to one simple task: protecting your light. The master taught you cannot stop the birds of sorrow from flying over your head, but you can prevent them from building a nest in your hair. This story presents a profound reframing of how to work with difficult emotions like anger. Kale's initial approach is one that many of us recognize. He sees his anger as an enemy, a demon to be fought and suppressed. This creates an inner war, and as he discovers, it's a war he always loses, because the anger, when suppressed, only gains more power. This is the cycle of rage and shame. Master N's task is a living koan, a teaching through direct experience. The storm is a perfect metaphor for a powerful, overwhelming emotion. It's impersonal, immense, and you cannot reason with it or fight it head-on. To stand in a field and scream at a hurricane is an act of utter futility. Similarly, to try and fight a surge of pure rage is often just as useless. It simply adds more energy to the turmoil. The lantern's flame represents our core of mindful awareness. It is that quiet, observing part of ourselves that is separate from the emotion itself. It is the you that knows you are angry. Kale's task teaches him a crucial shift in focus. Instead of putting his energy into the storm, he puts all of his energy into the flame. This is the essence of a mindful approach to difficult emotions. The instruction is not to stop being angry. The instruction is to shift your primary attention from the story of the anger to the sensation of your inner state, your inner light. The goal becomes, can I stay present with myself through this storm? Can I keep my inner peace from being extinguished? This act of nurturing our own awareness, even in the midst of turmoil, is what prevents the emotion from hijacking our entire being. We learn to be the calm center of our own storm. As you lie here, resting in the quiet of the night, I invite you to reflect on the storms in your own life. Think of a time you recently felt the storm of anger or frustration rising within you. How did you react? Did you fight the storm? Or were you swept away by it? Perhaps you replayed the offending event over and over, feeding the anger with more thoughts and judgments. Perhaps you suppressed it, pretending you weren't upset, only to have it leak out later as sharp words or a heavy mood. There is no judgment in this reflection. Simply observe the pattern. Can you imagine that within you, right now, there is a small, warm, steady flame? This is your core of peaceful awareness. It is always there, no matter what storm is blowing. Place a hand gently on your heart or your belly. Feel the warmth there. This is your lantern. This is your light to protect. The next time the winds of frustration begin to blow, you now have a new choice. You don't have to engage with the storm. You can turn your attention inward and simply ask, how can I protect my light right now? Maybe it means taking a few deep breaths. Maybe it means walking away from the situation for a moment. Maybe it just means focusing on the feeling of your feet on the ground. It is a simple, powerful shift from fighting the world to nurturing your own soul. Imagine now that you are lying safely in your bed, lantern from the story is resting on your chest. Its warm, golden light glows steadily with each breath. Outside, the storms of the world may blow. The worries of tomorrow, the frustrations of yesterday, let them be the wind and the rain. They are outside of you. They cannot extinguish your light. Your only task tonight is to tend to this flame. With each inhale, imagine the flame growing a little brighter, a little warmer. With each exhale, imagine its peaceful glow spreading throughout your entire body, filling your limbs with warmth, filling your mind with calm, filling your heart with peace. You are the keeper of your own peace. You have the power to nurture your inner light, even as the world storms around you. But tonight, there is no storm. There is only calm, only quiet. The flame is safe, and you are safe. Let the gentle, steady glow of this inner peace light your way into the land of deep sleep. Rest now. Your light is safe within you. Sleep now. We leave the storm-swept village behind, our minds calm and our inner light protected. Our journey now takes us to a place of quiet creation, a sculptor's open-air workshop on a sun-drenched hillside overlooking the sea. Imagine the air is filled with the clean, mineral scent of stone and the faint aroma of wild thyme growing nearby. The ground is littered with white marble dust that glitters in the sun. All around are blocks of raw, unfinished stone and a few completed statues of breathtaking beauty and grace. The only sounds are the distant cry of gulls and the rhythmic tap, tap, tap of a chisel against stone. Here, in this place of transformation, we confront one of the deepest modern anxieties, the feeling of being lost, of lacking meaning or direction. We often feel we must invent a purpose for ourselves, or that we must add things to our lives, accolades, experiences, possessions, in order to become the person we are meant to be. We feel like an empty vessel that must be filled. This story offers a completely different perspective. It is a story about discovering the meaning that that is already within. It is called the sculptor and the stone. A young seeker named Jin traveled to the hillside workshop of a legendary sculptor, a master whose works were said to be so alive they seemed to breathe. Jin did not come to learn how to sculpt, but to find the meaning of his own life. He felt like a raw, shapeless block of stone himself, full of potential, perhaps, but with no form, no purpose. He found the master, an old woman with strong, dusty hands and eyes that held the patient wisdom of the mountains, standing before a towering, uncarved block of marble. She was not working, but simply looking at the stone with intense, loving concentration. She circled it slowly, her hand occasionally stroking its rough surface. "Master," Jin said, bowing respectfully, "I have come to ask for your guidance. My life feels like this block of stone, unformed, without purpose. I do not know what I am meant to be. How do you take this raw material and create such beauty? How do you know what to create?" The master sculptor turned her calm gaze from the stone to the young man. "You ask the wrong question," she said, her voice raspy like stone dust. "You think I add beauty to the stone. You think I decide what it will become." She turned back to the marble block and patted it gently. "I do not. The sculpture is already here." Jin looked at her, confused. "What do you mean, master? I see only a rock." "You see with your eyes," the sculptor replied. "I see with my spirit. I listen to the stone. I look at it until it tells me what it wants to be. The shape of the beautiful horse, the form of the graceful dancer. It is already contained within the marble. It has been there for 1,000 years, waiting." She picked up a hammer and a chisel. "My work is not a work of creation," she explained, her voice punctuated by the first sharp tap of the chisel. Tap. It is a work of removal. Tap. A work of discovery. Tap. I simply chip away everything that is not the horse. I remove the excess, the unnecessary, the parts that obscure the form that is already there. It is a patient and sometimes difficult process. One wrong move, one impatient strike, and I could damage the truth within. So I must be humble. I must listen. I am not its creator. I am its liberator. She set down her tools and looked at Jin, her eyes deep and clear. You say your life feels like a raw block of stone. You are correct. But you are mistaken in thinking it is empty, and that you must find something to add to it. The masterpiece of who you truly are is already inside you. It has always been there. Your work in this life, she said softly, is not to become someone you are not. It is not to add layers of achievement or identity in the hopes of creating a self. Your work is to do as I do with the stone, to patiently and with great love chip away everything that is not you. Chip away the fears that were given to you by others. Chip away the limiting beliefs you have held about yourself. Chip away the need for approval. Chip away the habits that obscure your light. Chip away the noise of the world so you can hear the truth of the stone. Do not ask, "What should I become?" the sculptor advised. Instead, ask, "What can I let go of? What can I remove so that my true self can be revealed?" Your purpose is not something to be found out there. It is something to be uncovered in here. The master taught before one studies Zen, mountains are mountains and waters are waters. After a first glimpse into the truth of Zen, mountains are no longer mountains and waters are no longer waters. After enlightenment, mountains are once again mountains and waters are once again waters. This teaching, like our story, is about subtraction, not addition. It's about returning to the essential truth that was there all along. The parable of the sculptor and the stone offers a liberating reversal of our usual approach to finding meaning and purpose. We live in an additive culture. We are encouraged to get more education, more skills, more experiences, more possessions, believing that these external things will construct a valuable identity for us. Jin represents this mindset. He feels empty and shapeless, and he has come to the master to learn how to build a self. The sculptor's wisdom is subtractive. She teaches that the masterpiece is not created, but revealed. This is a profound shift in perspective. It implies that our core self, our true nature, our purpose, is not something we have to invent or earn, but something that is already innate, inherent, and whole. It is simply covered up by layers of conditioning, fear, and false identity. The excess stone. The process of chipping away is the spiritual path itself. Each act of letting go of a limiting belief, of releasing a fear, of questioning a conditioned response, is a tap of the chisel. It's the work of removing what is false to reveal what is true. This is not passive work. It requires courage, patience, and self-compassion. Just as the sculptor must be patient and careful, but it changes the goal from a stressful quest for becoming into a gentle process of unbecoming everything that isn't truly you. This perspective alleviates the immense pressure to figure it all out. It suggests that you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be willing to do the work of chipping away the next piece of stone that is obscuring your light. Your purpose will reveal itself not as a grand plan you discover, but as the natural expression of your authentic self once it is liberated. As you lie here in the quiet darkness, I invite you to see yourself as that block of marble, not as empty, but as full of hidden, beautiful potential. Your authentic self is already within you, whole and complete. What is the excess stone you are carrying? What are the layers that are not truly you, which you could begin to gently chip away? Perhaps it is the belief that you are not good enough. Where did that belief come from? It is not the core truth of you. It is excess stone. Perhaps it is a fear of failure that stops you from trying new things. That fear is not your essence. It is excess stone. Perhaps it is the habit of people-pleasing, of shaping yourself to fit the expectations of others. That is not your true form. It is excess stone. As you breathe in, imagine you are the sculptor, holding the chisel with loving care. As you breathe out, imagine you are gently tapping away one of these layers. You are not destroying anything real. You are simply removing what is false. You don't need to remove it all at once. Just one small chip, a single act of letting go, a gentle decision to release a belief that no longer serves you. With each breath, you are coming closer to the magnificent truth of who you are. You are liberating the masterpiece within. Imagine now that the work is done for today. The sculptor has laid down her tools. You, the stone, are resting under the vast, starry sky. You can feel the new lightness in your being, the space created by letting go. You can feel the form of your true self beginning to emerge, beautiful and strong. There is no more work to be done tonight. The process of uncovering is gentle and takes a lifetime. Tonight, the only task is to rest, to allow the stone of your body to be heavy and still, to allow the dust of the day to settle. Trust in the masterpiece that you are. It is already there. It is already perfect. It is just waiting patiently beneath the surface for you to reveal it. And in sleep, in the quiet, restorative darkness, the process continues effortlessly. The unnecessary falls away, and your true nature is renewed. Rest now. You are a masterpiece in progress. Let go and sleep. We float away from the sculptor's hill, our awareness now merging with a great, slow-moving river. Imagine you are this river. You are flowing through a deep, ancient canyon carved over millennia. The sun warms your surface, but your depths are cool and mysterious. You carry silt from the mountains and fallen leaves from the forests. You move with an immense, unhurried power. Your banks are lined with ancient trees and smooth, worn stones. Your destiny is the endless ocean, but you are in no rush to get there. Here, as this powerful, flowing river, we will contemplate the profound truth of impermanence and the pain that comes from resisting it. We suffer when we cling to the past, trying to hold onto moments of joy, or when we are haunted by past sorrows. We try to build permanent structures on the shifting banks of time, and we are hurt when the river of life inevitably washes them away. This story is for anyone who struggles with letting go of what was. It is about finding peace by learning to flow with the current of life. It is called the river and the shore. There was a man named Tatsu who built a beautiful house on the bank of the great river. He loved his home more than anything. He loved the way the morning sun hit the windows, the sound of the water at night, view of the willow tree that dipped its branches into the current. This spot, he declared, was paradise. This was where he would stay forever. But the river was alive and always changing. In the spring, the snows in the mountains would melt, and the river would swell, its current strong and fast. During these times, the water would lap at the edges of Tatsu's garden, and he would spend anxious days and nights laying down sandbags, building up the bank, fighting to keep the river at bay. He would curse the river for its power, for threatening his perfect home. In the dry season, the river would shrink, pulling away from his property. The willow tree's branches would hang in the dry air, and the bank would become a stretch of cracked mud. In these times, Tatsu would be filled with despair. He would try to dig channels to bring the water back, to restore the view he loved. He would look at the diminished river with resentment for abandoning him. He spent his life in this constant battle. He was either fighting the river for having too much presence, or resenting it for having too little. His entire happiness was precariously balanced on the river remaining exactly as it was in one perfect, fleeting moment he had enshrined in his memory. As a result, he was never at peace. An old fairy woman who had spent her entire life on the water watched Tatsu's struggles with a compassionate eye. One day, as Tatsu was angrily trying to shore up a bank that the river had begun to erode, she pulled her small fairy over to him. "You work so hard," she said, her voice as calm and steady as the deep water current. "You are always fighting. This river is trying to destroy my life," Tatsu exclaimed, wiping sweat from his brow. "It will not leave me in peace. It is either trying to take my home or abandon it." The fairy woman looked from his frantic work to the great, flowing river. "The river is not trying to do anything to you," she said gently. "The river is just being a river. Its nature is to flow, to change, to rise, and to fall. It does not have you in its mind at all. You have built your house on the shore," she continued, "and you expect the shore to be as solid and unchanging as a mountain. But the shore is defined by the river. Its very existence is a dance between water and land. To live on the shore is to agree to be part of that dance. You suffer," she said, her words landing softly but with great weight. Because you are in love with a memory of the river, not the river itself. You want it to be the river of a perfect yesterday, but the water that touched this bank yesterday is now miles downstream, on its way to the ocean. A new river is here today, and a new river will be here tomorrow. Your pain comes from clinging to the bank, trying to hold back the water. Peace will only come when you learn to love the flow. She pointed to her own simple hut, built on a small, sturdy raft tethered loosely to the bank. I do not fight the river, she said with a smile. My home rises when the river rises. It falls when the river falls. I do not ask the river to be different. I have made my peace with its nature, and so its movement is not a threat. It is a lullaby. The master taught you can't step in the same river twice. This ancient wisdom from Heraclitus is the very heart of this parable. It points to the fundamental truth of impermanence. Life, like the river, is in a constant state of flux. Nothing is static. Every moment is new and unique. Tatsu represents our ego's desperate desire for permanence and control in a world that is inherently impermanent. He builds his happiness on a fixed condition, the river being just right, and then dedicates his life to the exhausting and impossible task of maintaining that condition. His suffering comes from a fundamental misunderstanding. He personalizes the river's natural changes. He thinks the river is doing something to him. This is what we do when we suffer over the past. We feel that life has taken something from us, or that a past pain is a permanent stain on our present. But like the river, life is not personal in its flow. It is just flowing. The fairy woman embodies the wisdom of non-attachment and acceptance. Her home, the raft, is a powerful symbol. It does not resist the river. It yields to it. It is in harmony with the natural movement of life. Because she has accepted the river's nature, which is to change, she is not threatened by it. She finds peace not by controlling her environment, but by adapting to it. She has learned to love the flow. Loving the flow does not mean being passive or helpless. The fairy woman is skilled. she knows how to navigate the currents. It means letting go of the demand that reality be different than it is. It means releasing our grip on yesterday's joys and sorrows and bringing our full presence to the river of life as it is today. This is the only place where peace can be found, not on the fixed, rigid bank of the past, but in the gentle, flowing current of the now. As you lie here, feeling the river of your own breath flowing in and out, I invite you to reflect on your own relationship with the past. What past moment are you clinging to? Is it a golden memory you keep trying to relive, which makes the present seem pale in comparison? Or is it a painful event that you allow to keep eroding the banks of your peace today? Recognize that you, like Tatsu, may have built a house on the bank of a memory. You are trying to live in a moment that is gone. The water from that time has already reached the ocean. To cling to it is to cause yourself unnecessary suffering. Can you, just for tonight, untether yourself from the bank? Can you allow yourself to be like the fairy woman's raft, floating on the river of this present moment? The past is a story. It has no power over you unless you give it power. You can choose to release your grip. You can choose to forgive both others and yourself. Forgiveness is the act of untying the rope that binds you to the painful shore of the past. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest. This is the river, right here, right now. It is calm. It is peaceful. It is the only reality there is. Imagine now that your bed is a safe, sturdy raft. It is floating on a wide, slow, silent river under a blanket of stars. You are not struggling against the current. You are one with it. The movement of the river is gentle, rhythmic, rocking you softly. It is the rhythm of deep relaxation. It is the lullaby of sleep. Let the river of the night carry away the remnants of yesterday. Let it wash away your worries about tomorrow. All that exists is this gentle, peaceful flow. You are held. You are supported. You are safe. You don't need to hold on to anything anymore. You can release your grip on the shore. You can let go of the past you can trust the river to carry you exactly where you need to go, into the vast, silent ocean of deep and restorative sleep. Flow now. Let go now. Sleep now. Our journey of the mind now brings us to a quiet, sunlit room. It is a simple room with tatami mat floors and paper screen walls that diffuse the afternoon light into a soft, gentle glow. The air smells of old wood and fragrant green tea. In the center of the room, a wise master and her student are sitting in silence, preparing for a tea ceremony. The movements are slow, deliberate, and full of grace. Every object, the iron kettle, the bamboo whisk, the ceramic bowls, is treated with reverence and care. It is a space of profound presence and appreciation for the beauty of simple things. Here, in this space of gentle ceremony, we will explore the healing power of self-compassion and acceptance. So often, we are our own harshest critics. We judge ourselves for our perceived flaws, our mistakes, our broken parts. We believe we must be perfect to be worthy of love, especially from ourselves. This creates a constant inner battle, a state of feeling fractured and not whole. This story offers a path to healing through embracing our beautiful imperfections. It is called the Broken Teacup. In the quiet room sat a young student named Akio, who was studying the art of the tea ceremony under a renowned master, a woman named Chiyo. Akio was precise and dedicated, but he was also terribly hard on himself. He strived for a kind of sterile perfection in every movement. One day, Master Chiyo brought out her most prized possession, a beautiful, ancient teacup. It was a masterpiece of raku, where its glaze a deep, earthy brown, its shape simple but perfect. It had been passed down through generations of tea masters. Today, she said, we will use this cup. It helps us to taste the tea with the spirit of all who have held it before us. Akio's hands trembled as he took the precious cup. He was so focused on not dropping it, so terrified of damaging it, that his movements became stiff and unnatural. As he reached to place it on the mat, His sleeve caught the edge of the water basin. He fumbled. The ancient cup slipped from his grasp and fell to the floor, shattering into several pieces with a sickening crack. Silence filled the room. It was a deafening, horrifying silence. Akio stared at the broken pieces, his face pale with shock and shame. He had destroyed a priceless treasure. He had failed his master. He felt his own spirit shatter along with the cup. He prostrated himself on the floor, unable to speak, waiting for the harsh reprimand he was sure would come. Master Chiyo was silent for a long time. Akio could hear her rise and quietly gather the pieces. He braced himself for her anger. Instead, he heard her say, in a voice that was completely calm and gentle, "Akio, please help me prepare the lacquer." Confused, Akio looked up. The master was not angry. She was looking at the broken pieces in her hand with an expression of profound tenderness. She led him to a small workshop behind the tea room, where she carefully laid out the fragments of the cup. She showed him how to mix a special tree sap lacquer with powdered gold. Over the next several days, they worked together in quiet concentration. Master Chiyo patiently taught Akio how to carefully fit the broken pieces back together, and then, using a fine brush, she showed him how to paint the golden lacquer along every crack, sealing the fragments and highlighting the lines of the break. She did not hide the damage. She illuminated it. When they were finished, the cup was whole again. But it was transformed. It was now crisscrossed with a beautiful network of shimmering gold veins. The cracks were not just repaired. They were now the most beautiful feature of the cup. It held a new kind of beauty, a beauty that told a story of its history, its damage, and its healing. Master Chiyo filled the repaired cup with tea and handed it to Akio. "You see," she said softly, "the cup is more beautiful now for having been broken. Its history is written in gold. It holds the memory of its own resilience." She looked at Akio, whose eyes were filled with tears of understanding. "You are like this cup, Akio," she said. "We are all like this cup. Life will inevitably bring shocks and breaks. We will all make mistakes. We will all feel shattered at times. You have a choice. You can see the breaks as a source of shame, something to be hidden or thrown away. Or you can learn to fill your own cracks with gold. You can learn to see your own history, your own wounds, and your own healing as the source of your truest, most unique beauty. The Master taught there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. This idea, echoed in our earlier story of the weaver, finds its deepest expression here in the practice of kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with golden lacquer. Kintsugi is more than a repair technique. It is a profound philosophy. It teaches that an object's history of breakage and repair is part of its beauty, not something to be concealed. The story of the Broken Teacup uses this philosophy as a powerful metaphor for self-acceptance and compassion. A kyo represents the part of us that is terrified of imperfection. When the cup breaks, he experiences it as a personal failure, a source of immense shame. He expects judgment and punishment. He has, in his mind, ruined everything. This is the voice of the inner critic, which tells us that our broken parts, our traumas, our mistakes, our vulnerabilities make us worthless. Master Chiyo embodies compassionate wisdom. Her response to the accident is not anger, but acceptance and an opportunity for transformation. She does not scold Akio. She invites him into the healing process. The act of mixing lacquer with gold is the key. Gold represents awareness, compassion, and love. When we apply this gold to our own cracks, we are not just patching ourselves up. We are transforming our wounds into sources of beauty and strength. The repaired cup is more valuable and beautiful than the original because it has a story. It has character. It is a testament to resilience. The story teaches us that the same is true for us. Our wholeness is not found in never being broken, but in the courage and compassion with which we mend ourselves. Our deepest beauty lies not in a flawless past, but in the golden seams of our healed wounds. As you lie here, resting in the safety and quiet of your bed, I invite you to think of yourself as this beautiful, precious teacup. What are the cracks that you carry? What past hurts mistakes or perceived flaws do you try to hide, feeling they make you less worthy? Perhaps it is the scar of a past relationship or the memory of a time you did not live up to your own expectations. Maybe it is a vulnerability you are afraid to show the world. We all have these cracks. For too long, you may have seen them as sources of shame. Can you, just for this moment, imagine that you have a small bowl of liquid gold? This gold is pure, unconditional self-compassion. Imagine taking a very fine brush and gently, lovingly, painting this liquid gold along the lines of one of your cracks. You are not trying to erase the crack. You are honoring it. You are acknowledging the journey that created it. You are illuminating it with love and acceptance. See how the crack begins to glow. It is no longer an ugly flaw. It is a beautiful, shining vein of gold, a testament to your resilience. Imagine now that your entire being is this mended cup. You are whole, complete, and more beautiful for having been broken and repaired with love. The warm tea of peace can now fill you, and it will not leak out. Your golden seams make you strong. They make you unique. They make you precious. As you drift towards sleep, feel the warmth of this golden light spreading through you. It flows into every limb, every cell, every memory. It is the warmth of radical self-acceptance. It is the gentle light of compassion. There is nothing about you that needs to be hidden. There is no part of you that is not worthy of love. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are luminous. Let this golden light guide you into a deep, healing, and restorative sleep. Rest in the beauty of your own complete, perfectly imperfect self. Rest now, mended in gold. Sleep now. We leave the quiet tea room behind. The image of the golden seamed cup held gently in our minds. Our awareness now drifts upwards, ascending to the misty peak of a sacred mountain. We find ourselves sitting outside a small, weathered hermitage. The world below is hidden by a vast, soft sea of white clouds. it feels as though we are on an island in the sky. The air is thin, crisp, and utterly still. The silence here is not an absence of sound, but a presence in itself. It is a deep, resonant silence that seems to hold all the wisdom of the universe. In this profound stillness, we will explore the challenge of loneliness and the search for connection. In our noisy, hyper-connected world, it is possible to feel more disconnected than ever. We can feel a deep ache for a connection that is authentic and true, a sense of being seen and understood. We often look for this connection outside of ourselves, in others, in groups, in constant communication. This story points to a different source of connection, one that can never be broken. It is called the silent flute. There was once a young woman named Mio who was a gifted musician. She played the bamboo flute with such skill and passion that her music could make people weep with joy or dance with abandon. But despite the crowds that gathered to hear her, Mio felt a profound and aching loneliness. The applause felt hollow, and the praise seemed to be for a person she didn't know. She felt that no one truly heard the music of her soul. Believing that the answer lay in finding a true master who could understand her art, she undertook a long journey to the mountain hermitage of a legendary old sage who was said to possess the most magical flute in the world. It was said that the music from his flute was the sound of creation itself. After a difficult climb, Mio arrived at the hermitage and found the old sage sitting on a rock, looking out over the sea of clouds. He was a small man with eyes that seemed to contain the vastness of the sky. He held no flute. "Master," Mio said, bowing deeply, "I have come to hear your music. They say you play the most beautiful flute in the world. I feel a deep disconnection, and I believe your music can heal me." The old sage smiled and gestured for her to sit. He did not speak. He simply sat with her in the profound silence. An hour passed, then another. Mio grew restless and confused. Where was the flute? Where was the music? Finally, she could bear it no longer. "Master, I beg your pardon," she said, "but when will you play?" I came all this way to hear you." The old sage turned to her, his smile gentle. He raised his empty hands to his lips, as if holding a flute. He closed his eyes, and his fingers moved as if playing an intricate melody. But no sound came out. He played this silent instrument with all the passion and grace she had heard described. Mio stared, bewildered. "Master, there is no flute," she said. "There is no sound." The old sage opened his eyes. "Ah," he said, "but did you listen?" He continued, his voice as quiet as the mist. "You came here, seeking a sound to fill your emptiness. You believe connection is something that comes from the outside in, a melody from another to you. But true connection, the kind that cures all loneliness, comes from the inside out. I have no need for a bamboo flute," he explained, "because the whole universe is my instrument. The music is not in the notes, but in the silence between them. It is in the rhythm of the rising and falling clouds. It is in the melody of your own heartbeat. It is in the harmony of your own breath, moving in and out. You feel lonely," he said, his gaze deeply compassionate, "because you have not yet learned to listen to your own music. You play your flute for others, hoping they will see you, but you have not yet turned inward to hear the song that is uniquely yours. The song that is always playing, even in the deepest silence. It is the song of your own being. When you learn to hear that music, you realize you are connected to everything. You are a note in the symphony of the cosmos. How can a note in a symphony ever be truly alone? The master taught, the quieter you become, the more you can hear. This story addresses the deep existential ache of loneliness by pointing us away from the external search for connection and toward the discovery of our innate, unbreakable connection to all of existence. Mio represents our desperate search for validation from the outside. She is a performer, seeking an audience to mirror her back to herself. But this kind of connection is always conditional and fleeting, leaving her feeling empty. Her quest for the magic flute is a quest for an external solution to an internal problem. The sage, silent flute is a profound teaching. It demonstrates that the music we are seeking is not an audible sound, but a state of being. The sage is not making music. He is attuned to the music that is already present everywhere. This is the core of the wisdom. True connection is not something we create, but something we awaken to. The sage identifies the source of Mio's loneliness with piercing accuracy. She has not learned to listen to her own music. We are all broadcasting a unique frequency, the song of our own being. This is our life force, our awareness, our essence. When we are caught up in the noise of the world and the clamor of our own minds, we can't hear it. We feel disconnected because we are disconnected from the most fundamental source, ourselves. The cure for loneliness, according to this wisdom, is not to find the right person or group, but to cultivate inner silence. In the stillness, we can begin to hear our own inner melody, the rhythm of our breath, the beat of our heart, the subtle hum of our own aliveness. As we become familiar with this inner music, we start to recognize it everywhere, in the clouds, the trees, the stars. We realize that our personal song is just one note in a vast, interconnected cosmic symphony. The feeling of separation dissolves, replaced by a profound and peaceful sense of belonging. As you lie here, immersed in the quiet of the night, allow yourself to be on that mountain peak. The noisy world is far below, a distant memory. There is only the vast, peaceful silence. Have you been feeling the ache of loneliness? Have you been searching for a sound, a voice, a connection outside of yourself to make you feel whole? It is a natural human longing, but perhaps the search has been pointed in the wrong direction. The connection you seek is not in another person's song, but in your own. Can you right now become the sage and listen to the silent flute? Can you turn your attention inward and listen for your own music? Don't listen for a thought. Listen deeper than that. Listen to the rhythm of your breath, in and out. That is your music. Feel the gentle, steady beat of your heart. That is your music. Feel the simple sensation of being alive in this body. That is your music. It is quiet, subtle, and profoundly beautiful. This music has been playing since the moment you were born. until your very last breath. It is the constant, unwavering proof that you belong here. You are a part of this universe. You are not separate. You are home. Imagine that the silence around you is not empty, but full. It is full of the gentle, cosmic music the sage spoke of. And your own being is a beautiful, resonant instrument, playing in perfect harmony with it. Let the rhythm of your breathing be the only melody you follow now. It is a lullaby composed just for you by the universe itself. With each inhale, you draw in the peace of the silent mountain. With each exhale, you release the old story of being separate and alone. You are connected. You are part of the whole. You are a precious note in the grand, silent symphony of the night. There is no need to search for connection anymore. You are it. Let this profound sense of belonging be the soft bed upon which you fall asleep. Let the music of the silence carry you into the deepest, most peaceful rest. Rest now. You are not alone. Sleep now. And so, our journey through the garden of stories comes to a gentle close. We have walked by moonlit ponds and through whispering forests. We have stood on twilight shores and in sun-drenched courtyards. We have felt the storm and tended the flame. We have witnessed the breaking and the mending. We have listened to the music of silence. Each story, a smooth stone dropped into the quiet pool of your mind, sending out ripples of peace, of calm, of understanding. You do not need to hold on to them. You do not need to remember the words. The wisdom has already been planted, like a seed in fertile ground, in the deep, restorative soil of your sleep. It will germinate. It will grow. It will become a part of you. You have done the beautiful work of letting go. You have set down the heavy burdens of the day. The woman at the river, the overflowing cup, the misplaced thread, the distant boat, the unruly bamboo. All of it has been released into the gentle flow of the night. What remains is you, the essential you, the masterpiece already present within the stone. The beautiful cup mended with gold, the precious note in the cosmic symphony. You are whole. You are peaceful. You are exactly where you need to be. Here, at the end of our time together, at Zen Buddhism Healing, all that is left is to surrender completely to the loving embrace of sleep. There is nothing more to learn, nothing more to do, nowhere else to go. The journey is complete. The destination is here. It is this moment of profound rest. Imagine one final sound. The deep, resonant tone of a large temple bell. It is struck once. Hear the sound bloom in the stillness, a deep, calming hum bong. Feel its vibrations spreading through the air, through the ground, and into your body. It is a vibration of pure peace. It smooths away the last vestiges of tension. It calms the last ripples in the mind. And now, listen as the sound of the bell slowly fades and fades and fades until it dissolves completely into the vast, profound silence. Let your own awareness follow that sound. Let it dissolve. Let it merge with the silence. Let it melt into the deep, dark, peaceful void of sleep. The stories are over. The day is done. Your work is complete. Rest now. Heal now. Sleep now.